Going once.
A couple very minor ones I can
There we
show
go.
quick. Um, this is not even really work I can claim, but there's a strong ask to be able to reorient the legends, and basically I made it so you can do that, at least left and right. So trivial. Top and bottom are significantly more difficult, mostly because when we schedule PDFs of these things, we fall back from using our custom legend and use Vega's built-in legend. And Vega's built-in top and bottom legend are pretty crude, to put it nicely. They sort of basically ask you to configure them manually, and they don't really have a lot of um, visibility into how many points are in the legend and things like that. So gonna work on that. Totally understand that top and bottom legends are the actual strongest part of the requirement here, but I want to ship.
Nate, just for the non-technical folks, why do we have to use the Vega legend for scheduling?
Uh, I The answer is I don't know. I didn't write this part. I mean, okay, look, like we could render our HTML legends if we really want to, but I assume whoever worked on this before me made it quite a bit easier by isolating the viz and just having it output. Like when Vega generates its output, it outputs it as a simple image. And I assume getting that to be rendered by the scheduler was significantly easier.
Yeah, I mean, I could speak to that if you want. The main problem is that we render the Vega and then we interrogate Vega to see like what its legend uh, structure looks like, and then we render our own. And so like that work is asynchronous, and our scheduling code runs synchronously. And so
Okay.
like we really don't have any space for asynchronous code in there.
Yeah. Okay. I can just already see the bug that's filed. The legends don't match. That's gonna come up. So sorry, you guys have to
Well,
deal with
they
that.
they already don't like you can already see some visual differences, and there's some, but it's not as it's going to be way more obvious, like Nate said, in the top and bottom because it's like, huh?
Yeah. So I think
Like,
probably just to give a heads up to the field, like we can get top and bottom legends probably even working kind of today, but the next immediate request will be why do my bottom legends get cut off? Or if they don't get cut off, it'll be like, why is the chart rendered so small? Because the legend is taking up so much space. So just be prepared, like probably 60-70% of the use cases will work fine. And then the other 30 or 40 people will inevitably be complaining about very difficult to solve sizing and stylistic problems. Um, but, having something is probably better than having nothing. Um, this all does work in the scheduler. I'm not going to run it, but this is an example of the left uh, located axis. This particular example, there's a one use case I found where there's a size legend. And this just demonstrates that we can render both independently. So you can choose size to be on the right and color to be on the left. Um, you could have them both on the left. You could have them both on the right. You could have one be not be rendered. But this is a minor corner case. I guess. Oh, one other quick note. I updated the styling of the legends in the scheduler because um, they had a strange border around them, so I removed that and just made the styling more consistent with the app styling. Um, and I guess the last thing I could do is if you want to see what the legend looks like when it's in the bottom, this case will actually look pretty good. It's gonna look like this. Um, this case obviously works okay. If I had the real issue is when we have a lot of legend items and it just starts to kind of run off the screen. And it's really difficult to predict how much space we need based on the size of the text. Cool. That's one. Another real quick one I can show is, this is kind of behind the scenes, but we've had for a while, we've had this kind of long-standing problem where errors thrown in the query execution pipelines on dashboards and workbooks never really got handled super well, and this is exacerbated by some of the changes we made to holistically handle errors and not have full page errors. So what you would see on dashboards are errors that look like this. Pretty much like inactionable, like nothing you can really do with that. Bear with me for a sec while I restart my local. But basically now we can surface those errors. It's a little bit aggressive in that we get a bunch of tiles with errors, and we also get like a little toast that pops up. It's also got an error in it, but at least the error message now in theory will be visible in the UI and be somewhat actionable. Let's see. Almost there. Oh, that's not it. This is just because my server hasn't started yet. Come on, model server. Where are you? Well, I might have to rebuild my local, which is probably why the model server is not starting. I can, I'll just drop a screenshot into the Colin or something for the purpose of the demo. Of course, literally, as soon as I stopped sharing, my model server started. Hang on. Let me share my screen again.
If you want a beautiful edit in the future, just talk like it's working, and I'll just. But if we have to splice sound and video, that goes beyond my skill set.
Yeah. Well, you can see it here. So I just have in my code, I've manually thrown an error. And so now we just get a notice that like something was wrong with the query request, and the toast pops up here with the error message. So that's that. And then the only other thing to mention, I guess, on my end is, as most of you all know, I've been like deep in the salt mines dealing with Viz Code stuff. I have a big plan there. I think we're gonna come up with some kind of format to talk to the rest of the org around it in the next week or two. In the process, I've filled in a lot of testing bits. I think I've added, with this next PR that'll land, I've added like 30,000 lines of snapshot tests, just to try to cover as much of the surface area as possible. So progress is being made, even though it's not totally visible.